Today, you are going to learn how to use the test delivery system, the test platform you will use to take the computer-based Florida Standards assessments. This practice test is designed for students who will take the Grade 8 FSA ELA reading assessment. You will be given a CBT worksheet on the day of the test to take notes during each session of the ELA reading. However, today you may use your own paper. Remove all materials from your desk except your pen or pencil and scratch paper. Your computer or device should be open to the student practice test login screen. Please follow my instructions and do not change screens until I tell you to do so. Now, look at the login screen. If you do not see this screen, raise your hand. Make sure the box to the left of the guest user is checked. Make sure the box to the left of guest session is not checked. Now, enter the session ID, train, TRAIN, dash, the session ID is displayed for you. Click Sign In. Raise your hand if you need assistance. Now you will see a screen that says, "Is this you?" From the student grade level drop-down menu, select 8 and then select Yes to continue. Now you will see the test you are going to take today, the Grade 8 ELA Reading Practice Test. Select the arrow beside Start Grade 8 ELA Reading Practice Test. Now, sit quietly while I approve your test. Now you should see a screen that says, "Is this your test?" Verify that the screen displays the correct test. This screen allows you to choose the print size, background color, and mouse pointer size and color for your test. If you would like to change these settings, you may do so now. If you have any questions, raise your hand. After you have chosen your settings, select Yes, Start My Test. You will now see the Sound Check screen. This screen allows you to check your headphones and earbuds to make sure that you can hear audio passages in the test. You can also adjust the volume from this page. Put your headphones or earbuds on now and click the speaker icon. Make any adjustments to the volume if necessary. If you hear the sound, select Yes. Raise your hand if you cannot hear the sound. Now you will see the test instructions and help screen. Do not select Begin Test Now until I instruct you to do so. First, this screen will display your font size, color choice, and mouse pointer selections. If you do not like the choices you made, click Return to Login, sign in again, and change your choices. Then click Yes, Start My Test again. Take a moment to review the test instructions and help. These instructions show you how to navigate in the test and how to use the tools and features of the testing platform. We will discuss these tools in more detail on the next screen. These instructions are also available for you to reference in the practice test. Now, select Begin Test Now, but do not begin yet. Before you begin, listen as I describe the screen. For the Grade 8 FSA ELA reading test, you will see a reading passage on the left side of your screen and the question and answer area on the right side of your screen. There is a scroll bar to the right of the reading passage on the left side of your screen. Now, slowly scroll down in the reading passage section by moving your cursor into the reading passage section and either clicking the down arrow at the bottom of the scroll bar or by clicking and dragging the scroll bar. When reading a passage, always make sure that you scroll down to read the entire passage. In the top left corner of your screen, you will see the navigation buttons. The back and next buttons can be used to move to the previous or the next question. The back button is currently deactivated because you are on the first question, but it will be available for later questions. To the right of the next button, you will see the Save button. The Save button allows you to manually save your work. This is an optional feature. If you do not select this button, your answers will be saved automatically every 2 minutes. Look to the right of the Save button, where you will see the Pause button. The Pause button allows you to pause and exit the test. Do not select the Pause button at this time. Are there any questions? Now, I will describe several tools that may help you with this computer-based practice test, and you will practice using them. Select Next to move to question 2. Note that the reading passage in the left panel remains the same, but the question and answer options have changed. You can see how many questions you will have for this reading passage in the top right corner of the question and answer area. Once you finish those 7 questions, the passage will change. At the top right corner of your screen, you will see the Notes tool. Select Notes now. A notepad will display in a pop-up window. If you want to make notes for later reference, you can type them into this window. You can drag this pop-up window around the page if needed. Now, practice typing words in the notepad. These notes are not included as a part of your response. Notes that save in the notepad will be saved for the duration of this session. To close the notepad without saving the notes you have typed, select Cancel. To save the notes you have typed and close the notepad, select Save and Close. Now, close the notepad. Select Notes again, and your saved notes will display. To the right of the Notes button, you will see the Line Reader tool. The Line Reader tool helps you to track line by line as you read the passage or question. Now, select Line Reader. When you have selected the Line Reader tool, the button will turn orange. The Line Reader appears on the title of Passage 1. Click on another line on the screen, and the Line Reader will move to that line. You can also move the Line Reader by using the up and down arrows on your keyboard. Practice using the Line Reader tool on the screen. Now, select Line Reader again to turn off the tool. The button will revert to its original color. Next to the Line Reader button, you will see the Zoom Out and Zoom In buttons. You can use the Zoom Out and Zoom In buttons to decrease and increase the size of the text within the test page. 4 levels of magnification are available. Now, practice using the Zoom Out and Zoom In buttons to find the text size with which you are most comfortable. At the top right side of the page, above the Zoom buttons, you will see a small question mark in a circle. This is the Help button. Now, select the Help button. A pop-up window with the Help Guide, including an overview of the test site, test rules, and accessing context menu tools will display. You can drag this pop-up window around the page if needed. This is the same screen that you reviewed before beginning the practice test. These instructions remind you how to navigate from one item or passage to the next, and how to use the tools and features in the testing platform. Take a moment to scroll through these instructions. Raise your hand if you have any questions about the information in the Help Guide. Now, close the Help Guide by selecting the X in the circle at the top right corner of the Help Guide. In the top right corner of the screen, next to the Help button, you will see a wheel. This is the System Settings tool. Now, select System Settings. A pop-up window displays that will allow you to adjust the volume for this practice test. When you have finished adjusting your system settings, select OK to save your changes and exit, or Cancel to exit without saving your changes. Note that if you attempt to adjust your system settings while audio is playing, the settings will not adjust until after you select OK. Are there any questions about any of the tools? In the top right corner of the Reading Passage panel, you will see the Expand Passage Item tool, which looks like a double-sided arrow. This tool will expand the Reading Passage panel or the Question and Answer panel so that it takes up most of the screen. Now, select the right-facing arrow of the Expand Passage Item tool to expand your reading passage panel. Select the left-facing arrow to collapse the reading passage panel. Now, select the left-facing arrow of the Expand Passage Item tool. The reading passage should shrink and the question and answer panel will cover the screen. Click the right-facing arrow to see both the reading passage and question and answer panels. Now, look at the top right corner of the question and answer panel. You will see 3 horizontal lines. This is the context menu. Click the lines to open the context menu. First, you will see a circle with a lowercase I, a flag icon, a grayed out line that says Highlight Selection, and a set of letters with a line through them. Select the lowercase I. This is the tutorial tool. A pop-up window will open that displays a video tutorial of this item type. There is no sound available for this tutorial. You can also access the tutorial by right-clicking, if available on your device, in the question and answer area and selecting Tutorial. Now, close the video tutorial by selecting the X in the circle at the top right corner of the pop-up window. Now, select the context menu and then select the flag icon for Mark for Review. This feature allows you to flag a question that you might want to review at a later time. You can mark an item for review by using the context menu or by right-clicking in the question and answer area and selecting Mark for Review. Once you mark an item for review, the solid blue rectangle around the item number will change to a striped blue rectangle with the top right corner folded over. A flag icon will appear next to the item number, and the passage set in the drop-down list at the top left corner of the screen will also be labeled Marked. After you finish reviewing a question, return to the context menu and select Unmark Review Item. You can also right-click, if available on your device, in the question and answer area and select Unmark Review Item. The item number will revert to a solid blue rectangle. The flag icon will be removed, and the passage set in the drop-down list will no longer be labeled Marked. Now, practice selecting Mark for Review and Unmark Review Item. For now, leave this question marked for review. You can use the Highlight Selection tool to highlight portions of a passage or item. To highlight, click and drag to select the text you want to highlight. Then, right-click in the highlighted area and select Highlight Selection. Your text will then be highlighted. To remove the highlighting from text or reset all highlighting, right-click and select Remove Highlight or Reset Highlighting from the context menu. Note that if you have multiple sections highlighted, choosing Reset Highlighting will remove all highlighting from that item. To remove only certain portions of highlighting, select the text you want to remove highlighting from, right-click, and choose Remove Highlight. Practice highlighting and removing highlighting from text in the passage or item. Now select the context menu, and then select the set of numbers or letters with a line through them, which is the strike-through tool. You can use the strike-through tool to cross out answer choices that you have eliminated as possible correct answers. Click the first answer option. You should see a gray line through that answer option. Note that using strike-through on any answer option you have previously chosen does not automatically remove your selection of that response. Strike-through is only available for multiple choice and multi-select item types. To remove a strike-through, click the Eliminated option. Click anywhere outside the box around the answer choices to turn off the strike-through tool. Now, practice adding and removing strike-throughs. In the top left corner of your screen, you will see a drop-down menu with question numbers. The drop-down menu allows you to quickly move to different passage sets. You can only use the drop-down menu to revisit items you have already seen. At this time, you will see only one passage set in the drop-down menu. In sessions with more than one passage set, each passage set that you have already seen will display in the drop-down menu. Are there any questions about any of these tools? Now, we will look at the types of questions you will see throughout the test. Unless instructed to do so, you do not need to answer the questions at this time. You will have time after we discuss the various item types to practice answering the questions. Select Back to return to question 1. Question 1 is a selectable hot text item. This item type requires you to select a word or a group of words. For this question, click on the word or group of words you would like to select. Note that some hot text items will specify a number of words or group of words to select, whereas others will not specify the number. To remove your selection in order to choose a different phrase, click the selected phrase again. The highlighting will be removed, allowing you to choose a new phrase as your response. Now, select Next to move to question 2. Question 2 has two parts, Part A and Part B, both of which are multiple choice. This question type requires you to choose the answer you think is correct for each part. To begin, read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question, read the answer choices. Finally, click the button next to an answer option to select your answer. The button will become gray. If an item has more than one part, you must complete each part of the item. Select Next to move to question 3, which is an open response item. This type of question requires you to type your answer into a response area. To begin, read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question and any other information, think about your answer. Then, type your answer into the response area. Now, right-click in the response area. The context menu will display and will now include an arrow around a clock face, which is the Select Response Version tool. This tool, which is only available on open response items, allows you to view and return to previous versions of your response. For example, if you delete a portion of your response and then continue writing, but later decide that you would like to access the deleted portion of your work again, the Select Response Version tool would allow you to do this. In the response area, type a short sentence and then click Save. Now, erase that sentence, type a new sentence, and click Save again. From the context menu, click the Select Response Version tool. From the window that displays, click on the version numbers to see a preview of the response versions available to restore. Select the version number you would like to restore and click Select. Click Cancel to close the Select Response Version window without selecting a previous version. Click Next until you reach Question 7. Question 7 is a multi-select item. This question type requires you to choose all of the answers you think are correct. First, you will read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question, read the answer choices. Finally, click the button next to the answer options you want to select. A check mark will appear in the box. To remove a check mark, click the selected box again. Sometimes, this question type will tell you a specific number of options to select, such as this question, which asks you to select only 2. Others may ask you to select all correct options without specifying a number. You will have either 5 or 6 options to select from a multi-select item. We have already discussed the remaining item types in Session 1, so you may now begin Session 1 of the practice test. Return to Question 1 and read and respond to each question while practicing using the tools available for the session. Do not exit the practice test until instructed to do so. Remember, if you need assistance understanding how to answer a question, you can select Tutorial, which is the lowercase I under the context menu. Raise your hand if you have any questions. When you have finished answering questions in Session 1, you will see a green check mark below each question number on the right side of the screen. If there is not a green check mark below the number, you should go back and answer the question and check that you have answered all parts of the item. Now, navigate to Question 7 by clicking Next or by selecting 7 on the item numbers at the top right of the screen. Now, we will practice how you will exit the test if you need to leave the room for an extended period of time during the actual test. The Pause button allows you to pause and exit the test for an extended period of time. Now, select Pause. A pop-up window will appear and ask you to confirm that you want to pause the test and to ask your test administrator before pausing your test. You should then verify with your test administrator whether you should pause your test. For today, select No. On the day of the test, if you have your test administrator's permission, you will select Yes. Now we will move to the next session to finish describing all item types in this practice test. From Question 7, select Next to access the review screen. You will now have the option to review any unanswered or flagged items or to complete Session 1. If you marked any questions for review, you will see a flag and checkmark icon next to the question number, reminding you that you marked that item for review. If you wanted to review your response, you would click on the box with the question number and the flag and the checkmark in it. You would then be taken back to that question you had marked for review. If you had left any questions unanswered, those questions would also be indicated on this screen. Do not select a question number to review your answer at this time. Select Next. A message will appear asking you if you want to leave this session. Select Yes. You should now see Question 8 on your screen. Do not start Session 2 until I tell you to do so. If you do not see Question 8 on your screen, please raise your hand. We will now complete Session 2 of the practice test. The passage set on the left side of your screen includes an audio passage. Passage 1 contains a gray box with a triangle inside of a circle on the left side. In addition to reading the other 2 passages, you will be required to listen to this audio passage to answer the questions associated with this passage set. On the left side of the gray box, you will either see the play button, which is a triangle inside of a circle, or the pause button, which is 2 vertical lines, depending on whether the recording is playing. You can use the audio scrubber circle to move forward or backward in the recording. When you are instructed to begin Session 2 of the practice test, be sure to practice listening to the audio passage. Select Next to move to Question 9, which is a graphic response item display item. Different grid items, short for graphic response item display, will require you to respond in different ways. For this item, you will place and move objects on an answer space. To begin, you will read the directions on the screen. You will see an object bank in an answer space. For this question, the object bank is the gray area below the answer space. Select an item in the object bank and drag it into a box in the answer space. Read the instructions carefully to see how many of the items you should use and where you should place them. If you need to change an answer once you have dragged the item from the object bank to the answer space, you can either drag the item to a different spot in the answer space or drag the item out of the answer space and back into the object bank. Remember that you should only leave objects in the answer space that are meant to be part of your answer. When you are finished responding to the question, check to make sure that the answer space does not have any extra objects that do not belong. Select Next to move to question 11. Question 11 is a drag and drop hot text item. This question type requires you to place and move words and phrases on an answer space. To begin, you will read the directions or instructions. For this question, the answer space is the chart and the object bank is the list of supporting details below the answer space. Click on an item in the object bank and drag it into the answer space. Read the instructions carefully to see how many of the items you should use and where you should place them. If you need to change an answer once you have dragged the item from the object bank to the answer space, you can either drag the item to a different spot in the answer space or drag the item out of the answer space and back into the object bank. Just like the last item we discussed, you should only leave objects in the answer space that are meant to be part of your answer. Now, select Next until you reach question 18, or select 18 on the item numbers at the top right of the screen. Question 18 is a table match item. This item type presents options in columns and rows. Options may include words, phrases, sentences, quotations, line, paragraph, passage numbers, or images. You must click the box that matches the correct option from a column with the correct option from a row. Typically, there is only one correct option per row or column, but the number of the correct answers may vary. To remove a checkmark, click the selected box again. Now, select Next to go to question 19. Because you have not yet entered an answer for all of the questions in this passage set, you will see a pop-up message that warns you that you have not entered a response to one or more items. To remain on the page, you would select No. While we are discussing item types, select Yes each time this message appears. You should now see questions 19 through 21 on your screen. This question set is an edit task with choice item. You will begin by reading the instructions and the passage. For each of the highlighted words or phrases, you will click the highlighted portion and select the best word or phrase from the drop-down list that displays. Select OK to save the word or phrase. If you do not want to save the changes made, select Cancel. If you change your mind, select the highlighted word or phrase again to make changes. Repeat this process for all of the highlighted words or phrases in the passage. Select Next to move to question 22. Question 22 is an edit task item. This item is similar to what you did for questions 19 through 21, except that you will type in your own answer rather than choosing from options in a drop-down menu. You will begin by reading the instructions and the passage. Then, click a highlighted word or phrase. Type the replacement word or phrase in the text box that appears. Select OK to save the word or phrase. If you do not want to save the changes made, select Cancel. If you change your mind, select the highlighted word or phrase again to make changes. Repeat this process for all of the highlighted words or phrases in the passage. Now, you may begin the session 2 of the practice test. Return to question 8 and read and respond to each question while practicing using the tools available for this session. Do not select End Test until instructed to do so. Remember, if you need assistance understanding how to answer a question, you can select Tutorial, which is the lowercase I under the context menu. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Now we will practice how you will submit your test when you have completed session 2. From question 22, select Next to access the review screen. Remember that the review screen will show you any session 2 questions that are unanswered or marked for review, and allow you to return to those questions by clicking on the question number. Do not select a question number to review your response at this time. Select End Test at the bottom of the screen. You will see a message that directs you to select Yes to submit your test. Select Yes. A message will appear that reads, "You have reached the end of the test. Click Submit Test to submit your test." Select Submit Test. A pop-up window will display asking you if you are sure you want to submit the test. Select Yes. You will now see a message that says Practice Test Completed. Select Log Out. Woo!